Hi guys, hello. My name is Pelisa, and today I want to talk about being committed to a commitment. Yes, so today I just want to talk about how we keep on being committed into a commitment. What do I mean by that? I mean, how many of us, when we are done paying for a car, all of a sudden that car is not good enough, we want to upgrade to another car? How many of us, when you are done paying, or as soon as you have available credit on your clothing account, then all of a sudden the clothes in your wardrobe are not good enough? And how many of us, when you are, what else? When you are done paying the furniture account, then all of a sudden you are short of a dining table, you are short of your couches, they're no longer good enough, you need to change your kitchen, your fridge needs to be changed. So by this way, we always want our money committed somewhere, and we are committing our money into things that we can actually continue living with, the ones that we have. Because really, if you have a car and it's 5 years old, that car is not old. That car is still very much new, especially if you're maintaining it and keeping it very well. You can still drive that car for the next 5 years. And the clothes that you bought in December, they're still fine. They still look very much healthy. You can still wear them. Your couches, you can still sit on them, and they don't really need to be upgraded. So, but all of a sudden, because now you have done paying off, you have your money is no longer committed to something else, your mind all of a sudden creates something that you will want you to commit your money to something else. And because we are so used into getting things out of debt, we find ourselves thinking that getting that thing, you can only get it simply by being in debt, simply by just affording and going to the shop and sign that credit and pay installments over a couple of months. And then when that installment is paid up again, then all of a sudden you see something that you want to commit your money to. So today I just want to say, why don't we commit our money? Or why don't you say, when you are done paying a certain thing and want to commit your money into maybe creating an emergency fund, just say you're getting a breather, you were paying an installment for 1,000 rand, and just maybe you were not doing well and you were struggling and to make your ends meet. Just say to yourself, okay, now that I've got an extra 1,000 rand that is free, because now that money is available to you, and you want to use it, and you want to commit it into something that is going to be profitable to you. In order for you to break this thing of debt cycle, we need to start cutting ourselves off debt little by little. So if for example you have debt, and when you're calculating your debt, that you're going to be finishing your debt by 2025, for example, all of it, your debt by 2025, but you know, Wuti, there's a few ones that you're going to cut off in June, the one that you're going to pay off in December. Why don't you take that money and commit it into something that is going to be meaningful? Maybe you don't have an emergency fund. I was talking to someone the other day and saying, one of the things that make people to be more in debt is because they don't have the emergency fund. So every time they find an emergency, the next best thing that they can do is to borrow money. And now, if you can actually start and saying, okay, I've cut off this amount of money from paying off this debt is already paid off, let me rather take this amount and put it aside and create an emergency fund, so that whenever I come across an emergency, I don't find myself doing a temporal loan, doing a short-term loan that is going to be paid in 6 months and all that. Because at the end of the day, that loan that you are taking, even if it's short-term, even if it's 6 months, even if it's 3 months, it comes with an interest, it comes at a cost. So why don't you rather save yourself for emergency, and then when you have an emergency, you know where you're going to tap into. And there's something that is so beautiful about creating an emergency fund that I've noticed. Every time when you have your emergency fund and you take something out of that, you are most definitely going to want to replace it. So here is my tip for today. If you have an installment that you're going to be paying off, instead of you committing that installment to another installment, rather you put that money aside and save it for your emergencies. Then in that way you will know that every time you have an emergency, you won't need to go to borrow money, but you will tap into the emergency fund and you will replace that money. If you do that little by little, you will start to enjoy this financial freedom that we talk about most of the time, that you are never going to experience or experiment financial freedom for as long as you are in debt. Honestly, I don't care what kind of debt it is. I know Guti, people will say there's good debt and bad debt, but if it keeps you awake at night, I don't care. That debt is not good. If it doesn't make you sleep well at night, that debt is not good. So if you want to escape that cycle and get out of debt, try doing that instead of being committed into a commitment and seeing yourself forever. Like you get out of debt only when you start to retire. You don't want that. You want to be financially free, and the first step to being financially free is to being debt free. Thank you for watching. Thank you so much.